I'm here with Jackie Reeves. She is the managing director at Bell Rock Capital. She is an amazing woman leader in Palm Beach County, and we've been friends for quite a few years.
Yes, we have.
So thank you so much for chatting with me.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I look forward to it. Thank you so much.
So tell us a little bit about what it is that you do at Bell Rock.
At Bell Rock Capital, we manage assets for individuals and companies all across the country, in fact. So whether it's a two-person law firm, a family foundation, we just manage the assets and customize the portfolios.
So tell us, how did you get into this field of work?
Sure. So I got into this field, frankly, by accident, but I guess I'm being more open to the suggestions kind of as we go through. I started out actually as a genetic engineering major, and along the way realized that that probably wasn't really for me with respect to thinking about lab coats and what I might be doing after graduation. And I had switched into finance and economics, and then lo and behold had an internship in Pennsylvania with Merrill Lynch, and realized there was this whole different world than I had initially envisioned when I went to college, and had a really great time. I mean, the foundation, if you will, of both in terms of making that transition from genetic engineering to finance really had to do with research. So having that backbone and knowledge base on really peeling back the onion and checking things out. When I went to Wall Street and worked at Merrill, I worked with some really big bond guys. So it was all about getting to know the companies really well, looking through all the finances and the annual reports and the 10Qs and the 10Ks. And that's not for everybody.
Yeah, no, I was like, that sounds horrible.
Exactly, and I just love it.
That's awesome.
So after graduation, I was lucky enough to work on Wall Street. It was during the late 80s, and that was a challenging time for the markets. And I just never looked back. Had a great time.
So I'm assuming you worked mostly with a lot of men. You said the big bond guys.
Sure.
I envision these big men with suits.
That was probably the typical MO at the time. And in fact, when I did work on Wall Street, not that I don't right now, but with some of the bigger houses, it was predominantly men. And also when I moved and started focusing specifically on bank analysis in the field, occasionally I would look around the room at the different conferences that I attended all across the country and in Europe, and women were in the minority. Without a doubt. I didn't really give it a second look though, because I was like, oh, well, not a lot of people are attracted to numbers, period. But then to kind of dive deep into the pool on that side, I just didn't think it was an anomaly for that business too much. I just kind of went with the flow.
Well, that's really good. So how did you kind of break into more of a leadership role? Because you've done very well, you've grown your business, you are extremely successful, so kind of how was that path?
Sure. So the interesting thing about the niche that I even had on Wall Street was you kind of had your own business even within the bigger firms. So for example, at Credit Suisse and even at Citigroup, I ran the bank department. It was integral in mid-cap banks and had my research team and within a bigger team. But you had literally your little entrepreneurial atmosphere, and you had to, write all the research, make the calls, coordinate with investment banking, coordinate with the traders, coordinate with institutional sales to make road trips and to get everything done. So I think ultimately when I left that environment, you still had that entrepreneurial atmosphere. And I wanted to do things differently, and it's really hard to do things differently in the big ship of a Citigroup. You really need to decide to go out on your own and do something different. So that's really kind of that leadership opportunity that was being cultivated even in the bigger firms. You could take that and move that offline.
So I've seen you and watched you build your business. Like I said, you're such a great leader in the community and are involved in so many different organizations. You're involved in so many charities, and you volunteer your time and do so much work, and you sit on a ton of different boards. So talk a little bit about how that has helped you build your business.
Sure. So yes, I am involved in a number of different charities around South Florida, the YMCA, the Chamber of Commerce, as well as Florence Fuller and George Snow Scholarship Foundation too. And it has, it's kind of like, I don't think about it in terms of the business opportunity. I look at it in terms of, I love to give back. And so and even in the world of finance, because so many people that you talk to, everybody has to manage their own finances, whether it's, just balancing your checkbook to saving for retirement. But when you start to talk to them about strategies and how to deploy that and what to think about in stocks and bonds and, duration and risk, and, their eyes just kind of roll over in the back of their head. Either they don't want to really think about it, or they just want somebody else to think about it for them. So that's in the same vein as helping people, because I just like to give people as much education as possible, make the decisions together. So whether it's, helping people directly with the charity and trying to grow their donations, or try and grow their volunteer base, or try and advocate for them in the community, I look at that in the same line as the business opportunity of just trying to help people in an area that, frankly, most people are very uncomfortable having to deal with.
Yeah, which is so crazy. I mean, when you talk to different, we'll just talk, we're talking to women here, so we'll talk a little bit about women and their relationship with finance. How can we become better leaders in our financial lives? Because obviously I think we can all get really stressed out about things. Like, we know we have the bills, but I still feel like people I have bills, I know what they are, but I still don't even want to open them, or
we'll just put them in a pile over there.
Yeah, maybe those go away. How can we become more, just feel better about just finance in general?
First and foremost, women make the most strategic decisions, whether they're out on their own or whether they're running a household. They are the decision makers on the finances, whether it's where are we going to buy a house, where are the kids going to go to school, what car are we going to buy. So even though obviously men are making decisions alongside of that, they're traditionally the driving force behind many, many financial decisions and purchases across the entire globe, in fact. So when it comes to actually paying the bills to make those big decisions, I think it really just involves a plan and owning it. Those bills are going to come every month. They're going to come every week, every quarter, whatever it is. And just knowing and tracking that and having a plan that this is when they come in, this is how it's going to happen. And also, this is how much I'm going to save every paycheck, every year, every quarter, whatever it is, whatever the plan is. That's really, I think, would lend to more comfort. That being said, I think some people are oftentimes afraid to make a plan because then they have to stick to it. And then, but then life does happen.
We're so non-committal. Jeez.
But the point is, the plan is just that. It's a plan, and life happens. So if you have to deviate from the plan, and that's okay. So I think it's also we don't want to feel bad about not keeping to the plan. So then it kind of steps us back from actually having a plan. But I think just also knowing that, I can change it. I can either save more one quarter or 1 month, or save a little less because I want to take that trip or I want to do that. And that's all okay. I think knowing that it's okay to deviate from your plan is also part of the plan.
Yeah. And we were talking a little bit about that as far as just your success path. So just whether you're a business owner, whether you work for someone else and you're advancing in your career, kind of that idea of how you kind of have this idea of I want it to look really clean and neat. I want to go from point A to point B, and it's just going to work out beautifully. And when you're talking about success, obviously you've had a lot of success in your career and in your life. What would you say to people who just still have that, we're so controlling. Women are so controlling.
We want it to be exactly this way, and we want to manage people along the way and make sure they fit into our path and our projections, and life just isn't that way.
No.
And it's interesting because I'm definitely type A personality, as many of us are. And what has helped that dynamic of wanting to control has been having children. Because you can't control that, just, and they have little personalities and they have demands, and the demands come sometimes at very inopportune times, and you just have to roll with the punches. And that helps with your business decisions to know that, hey, yes, I want the corner office, or I would love to run my own company, and I would love to travel the world, and I want to build a better marketplace for whatever your product is. But also know along the way that you're going to have to hire people to help you with that, work with a lot of companies to coordinate that, and you cannot control how they're going to contribute or what hours of the day they're going to contribute. So having that flexibility. And I think just really knowing and trusting, obviously, the people that you want to partner with towards that success is key. But the family atmosphere and knowing that, all right, some things you're just going to have to let go. And that's okay.
And I think that's a good point, because I find a lot of women, when they do start a family, they did have an idea of what they wanted in their career and in their business. And then they had a family, and that changed. And I find that some of them, they feel really guilty. Absolutely. They make themselves feel really bad about that. They're not doing all these things as far as like the professional side. And I'm like, chill. Absolutely. Like, you're a mom and a wife, and you have all these other amazing things going on. And they still have this idea of like what they should want, or what they should be going towards.
So we can blame it on Hollywood if we want. Right?
Let's blame it on Hollywood.
Why not?
I say let's do it.
Absolutely. Because they painted this absolutely amazing picture of what it could be.
Yeah.
It's really not. And so it is kind of messy. It is kind of lumpy. It does take a village, a community, to really raise your children. And it's okay to, if you do want to go back to work, or if you never stop working. I didn't stop working when I had my 2 children, but I had a great family infrastructure. I had a community that I could call on at any point in time. I traveled a ton. So it's okay. Having it all is different. It doesn't mean you can't possibly be at home taking care of the household, taking care of the kids, while running a full-time business, while being a wife, while being a volunteer. I mean, the list is, and the hats are endless. So you do need to just be strategic about how you're going to do that, and available and flexible, because it can be kind of messy at times, but that's okay too.
You just need to be okay with knowing that it's messy.
It's messy.
And then we'll be a little bit more sane every day.
And I think also we need to be okay, because, for example, we volunteer with other women. And sometimes they're not going to show up for something, or they're not going to have whatever their volunteer commitment was, done. Well, we can't be too harsh on them either.
Right.
So it works both ways. I mean, and just knowing that there's a lot going on for everyone. I mean, I know sometimes too, for me, I'm like, it's just not going to happen today. I just have to own that, and just let somebody know, hopefully before the 11th hour, that it's not coming. But even if that's not the case, I think we should stop being so harsh on each other too. That would be nice.
Yeah, that would be nice. That's a little side note from Jackie. So let's talk a little bit about collaboration and connection, because I see you do this all the time, and I think it's so great. You love to connect people. You love to make introductions, and when you find out what somebody really is looking to do in their life, you're like, how can I help you? And try to make those connections. So how is that part of what you do?
Sure. So the connection part, I do have to give you some credit for that connecting. So when I did join the chamber, Kate was instrumental in introducing that whole opportunity. So thank you so much. But the connecting part was, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? And that was stepping outside of my comfort zone to kind of be more involved in a different way within the community, and being that connector, which means that you need to know what other people are looking for too. So I would encourage people to say what they want to do. Because then other people that might know somebody or know of an opportunity can help drive that opportunity for the individual, rather than keeping it a secret. And it's just a big game of concentration out there. So you need to know what everybody is doing and what they're about. And even from the company side, whether it's a nonprofit or a for-profit company, sometimes they're looking for strategic roles within those companies too. So knowing and keeping an ear out for what's open in the community is great.
Yeah, I find that so oftentimes we really want to help. Like, everybody really does want to help and make good connections. And when I find so many women that I talk to, they have this idea of what they really want, whether it's a new career or a change or whatever, even if they want to take a vacation and they're trying to figure out how to plan it best.
Right.
You know, just something that they're holding inside and they're not talking about it. And the second that they do,
it happens.
Yeah, it happens. They meet someone the next day or like the next week.
I know.
And it's so cool.
And they think it's by coincidence.
Yeah.
But you just need to really put it out there, because then other people will help drive it with you.
Yes.
Rather than it just being a secret and you having to take the reins, drive the truck, park it, find the opportunity.
Yeah.
You have other people out there working with you, which hopefully can make it happen a lot quicker.
And I think you work with a lot of entrepreneurs, so I'm sure you deal with the personality of they want to do everything. Mm-hmm. They want to take the reins and really do all pieces of their business. And finding other people in the community they can partner with is really important.
It is. So, yes, the lion's share of our client base are entrepreneurs, and they do obviously trust in us on the financial side to make that happen and to keep them on plan, if you will. And but you're right, that we do partner with other people that are strategic partners for us. And so keeping the ears open for who's really good at what they're doing, who's very passionate about what they're doing. I mean, you can see it usually a mile away in terms of what people really want to do. And if you can also see, too, if they're really not happy with kind of the path they've chosen, or kind of they're not ready to take that next step, as we were mentioning before, that checklist of, hey, I need to accomplish all 100% of this list before I'm going to start that new company or go for that next promotion. Mm-hmm. But they should really take that opportunity a heck of a lot sooner than maybe they're ready for, because life does begin. Or life does begin at the end of the comfort. No.
Yes,
at the end of your comfort zone.
Life does begin at the end of your comfort zone. I love that quote, and it's so true. Just putting yourself out there and just starting stuff. Mm-hmm. Just getting out there and going. Right. So what advice would you give to a woman that is maybe in that place of, I want to start something, I want to transition into a career, maybe they're an at-home mom and they're getting back in the workforce, or they just have this burning desire to do something. What advice would you give to her?
I would say just do it. Obviously you need your research, you need kind of the business plan, but those are items on the checklist. And even if you only have 50% of them done, just jump in and do it and make it happen and start making connections and meeting people that can help you achieve your goal.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jackie. You are so amazing and just such a powerhouse woman in the community. You recently won or were recognized as one of South Florida's top CEOs.
Yes.
Was it the Ultimate CEO Award?
Yes,
with the South Florida Business Journal.
Absolutely. It was an honor. I was humbled to be a part of the groups from Miami, Broward, and Palm Beach County at their recent celebration, and it was just fabulous. Absolutely
fantastic. It was a very well-deserved award, and thank you so much for all you do with our community. I'm so happy that I've been able to be part of your journey along the way in some little way.
Thank you so much, Kate.
Thanks.